I just watched Crazy Rich Asians, and I know this is my first review in like a week, I think. It's been quite a while. But I've been on a podcast. Me and my mate Jack are watching all the Best Picture winning Oscar films. The podcast called All the Best Pictures. And yeah, you can check it out on here or look it up on Spotify. All the Best Pictures. We've only done one episode so far where we watched the 1927, the very first winner, Wings, which is the only silent film. And it was a pretty good film. And we just sort of chat about it and a bit about Hollywood history, and it should be pretty exciting. The next episode will be out on Tuesday, and yeah, so I've been putting my attentions into that, but I'll keep doing some more sort of ones just on my own, chatting about the films I've been watching. And yeah, like I said, I just finished Crazy Rich Asians, and it's basically a rom-com. It's about a woman in New York has been dating a guy for like a year, and she goes back to his family in Singapore only to find out that he is from one of the richest families there. They are crazy rich. I mean, it does what it says on the tin, quite frankly. It's a film about some crazy rich Asians. You just this whole time thinking they're like rich to the point where it's kind of frustrating that they're just splashing money out on things that doesn't matter when they could be kind of using it to do some good in the world. But anyway, I don't know why I watched this really. I was just sort of browsing Netflix and thought, I've heard that's good, and I thought I'd give it a go. So it's starring Henry Golding, who I've only ever seen before in Last Christmas, which was a terrible film, but I quite liked him. Also because I watched the publicity they did, and I really like, I don't know, it's like a kind of hobby's the wrong word, but it's a kind of it's a morbid fascination that I have watching press, like actors trying to promote films which they must know are terrible. Like actors, it's not like they're honestly sincerely trying to do. Every time someone's promoting a film, they're just saying it's good just because they're being paid to do that. And even the talk show hosts, they're always saying like, oh, I loved it, it's great. And so I love it for things where everyone in the room knows that it's terrible. It's quite awkward, but I do think it's funny. And so watching Emilia Clarke starred alongside with him in that, and she would have, so I'm pretty sure they're both 2019, and so last season of Game of Thrones would have, when was that, April to June-ish, and so that was, and then Last Christmas would have been like November, they're doing the press, or maybe early December. So the fact that she would have just been like used to promoting something which she knows is bad, but he clearly, and so she was like trying, and she seemed like she was really trying to make it come across as good to get people to watch, and like she was being nice about it. And then it seemed like Henry Golden was just putting no effort in. He was just like, yeah, I'll answer the questions, but he wasn't trying to be like, oh, it's so good, oh, I love this film, it's so brilliant. He was just sitting there, and I really respected that. It was just funny. He's in this, and he plays exactly the same character as in Last Christmas, quite frankly. He plays just a really charming, likable guy with no negative qualities. He's just, yeah, I guess because it's like a rom-com, it's generally sort of female audiences, so even though it's written by a bloke, I mean, it's kind of it's meant, I think it's just you're meant to see him as like the dream guy, so he's kind of one-dimensional in this. Well, I mean, he's got stuff to him, he's got the conflicts, but he's not got any like emotional like personality bad traits at all. And same with whatever the guy's name was in Last Christmas. What was he called? I think they only ever said his first name. I can't remember. Anyway, so, and then who else is in it? Constance Wu. Never seen her anything before, but she was good, I don't think anyway. Gemma Chan. She's always good. Awkwafina is she's alright. I do like her, but I feel like I kind of in general don't really have much interest in these actors who just do the same thing and everything, and she always just seems to be the sort of comic relief, best friend or sidekick type character, and just does the same shtick every time. So like she's likable, and I like, I liked her back in the sort of YouTube days, but she's, I don't know, there's only so much you're going to get out of her. Same with Ken Jeong, he's in this a little bit, and I love Chang in Community, but I everything else is like, come on, like, Ken, man, you're a good actor, I've seen you do good stuff, why are you doing the same thing again? Just branch out, what are you doing? So, but anyway, Michelle Yeoh's in it. She plays Henry Golding's mum. She's right cow. Not Michelle Yeoh. She does the acting well, but the character, oh, right bitch. Yeah, I mean, that's it. There's not much to say. I liked it. It's not. It was very 50 Shades of Grey, I thought, except it was a lot more watchable because I watched that with my mates like a year ago, and oh my god, an awful film. So it's very much like that, but like a kind of 12 rated version of it. And yeah, it's pretty fun. It wouldn't like typically be my sort of film, but I mean, I just sort of watched it for light-hearted fun, and it is light-hearted. It's not you're not gonna cry. I thought it was quite well directed. There's something I hate in films is when they have like text, like when people are texting, it comes up on screen, and I get it because obviously in this day and age we've got phones everywhere, so it'd be weird to kind of omit them, and I think that's why loads of stuff seems to be going back into being period. Like lots of things seem to be set in the 80s lately, and I think that's just because not only is it nostalgic for the writers, the sort of age of writers these days, sort of middle age, they grew up in the 80s, but also it's a good time where it's interesting. There's a lot of interesting visuals and everything, and it's a really great time for movies, well, like blockbusters, not necessarily like arty movies, but like that. I think the blockbuster peaked in the 80s, and maybe like 70s a bit too. And it's like the fashion is interesting and like it's all colourful, and also there's technology, but it's so early that it's kind of good narratively. I think phones being around is sometimes a bit of a faff narrative. I mean, obviously like sci-fi, you can do anything, but I get like I don't know, I get why phones need to be in films, is what I'm trying to say, but I still think it's just horrible seeing all text on screen. I don't know why, I just don't like it. I think it seems lazy and expositional, even though it's not, but it just seems it. But in this, I think it was done quite interestingly. I thought the visuals looked nice, there was some nice sort of graphics, they were flying about, there was some good... I just thought it was less boringly done than usual. And also with the direction... John Chu's doing this. He did those god awful Justin Bieber biopics, well, like the concert films, I guess. But he's doing In the Heights, which I'm really looking forward to. The film adaptation of Lin-Manuel Miranda's play, well, musical, stage musical. But yeah, no, I thought he did a good job with some other stuff too. There was songs throughout. There was sort of, I don't know if there was how many there were. But he did the sort of same thing as Taika Waititi did in Jojo Rabbit, where it takes sort of Western, like English language popular songs, and it gets it. They have someone sing it in the language they speak in the film. So in that they do everything in German, except they do a really good job in that, because it even like Hero sounds like it's David Bowie singing, and all of them, they sound like the actual people but just in German. It's quite clever. Anyway, in this it's in either Mandarin or Cantonese. I don't know the difference, I'm very sorry. I think I know Ni hao is hello in one of the two. I'm sorry, I don't know which one. Anyway, so I noticed Material Girl, which is an absolute banger, and Yellow, which is the most boring song ever written. I mean, it's like Yellow is bread crust or something. Like it's a plain white sheet of paper. It's, oh my god, awful song Yellow is. But no, they had them in some form of Chinese language. And they might have done it for other songs, but I didn't notice any others. But there's sort of songs about it, and I thought that was interesting. I liked it. It was good. So basically it's quite formulaic, the film. You know what you're going to get going into it. It's like the film Tall Girl. Remember that on Netflix? From those two words, 4 letters each, you know exactly what the film is going to be. You know who it's going to be about. You know the conflict that's going to happen. You know the resolution. You just know everything about the film. Crazy Rich Asians is much the same. If you know it's a rom-com, you've pieced together the entire film. It feels quite long, but it's just before the point where you're like, oh, come on, wrap it up, what are you playing at? Like, it was fine. So yeah, I'll probably give it 4 stars. It entertained me. Yeah, it was good. Maybe on the 3-4 boundary. They're doing sequels, and see, that's why it also feels quite 50 Shades in that it's... you can tell the majority of the plot is in the first one. The same with Twilight, actually. It's kind of, yeah, they're doing more, but kind of most of the interesting stuff is done in the first one, and in Hunger Games as well, in a way. You've done the Hunger Games, and now it's kind of just dealing with the admin of ending the revolution, but it's not actually as interesting as just a film about someone being made to kill loads of kids. Anyway, so Crazy Rich Asians, I quite liked it. Yeah, watch it if you want, if it's your sort of thing. Watch my podcast, please. Me and Jack's podcast, All the Best Pictures, episode 2, which will be about the Broadway Melody, will be out on Tuesday. So, or if it's you're watching this in the future, it will already be out and there might be future episodes. So give them a go. It's on Spotify, it's on YouTube. All the best pictures. Thank you. Bye.